Hey everybody. So just kind of doing a little bit of an update. I want to try to keep periodically doing videos so you guys know I'm not dead or out on the streets somewhere. Or out on the streets dead somewhere. But, so I want to kind of keep some level of a steady flow. The previous weekend was the event I was talking about, and I went, and it was disappointing for the most part. Taught some kid the ways of the hacky sack. That was pretty cool. But he was pretty much just old enough to truly grasp the idea and have the cognitive motor functions to actually play the game. And to be completely honest, he wasn't all that bad in comparison to even some of the, 16, 18-year-old kids that I've played with, or I say kids like I'm old. God, that's annoying. Some of the other people that should have the general idea of how the game's played, he was better than them. I did run into some Oriental individual, and he said he never played before in his life. He's either a liar, or my second guess, which was correct, he played soccer before, because he was soccer status, I guess. Like, you can tell when somebody uses their feet for something more than walking. And that's kind of how I described it. Like, you can tell if somebody does a martial art, or if somebody does, like, soccer, or even football or boxing. Even though that's maybe a little bit more handsy, it does take some footwork. So you can kind of tell when somebody does something else by their stance, their movements. So that's just an interesting tip to maybe look out for whenever you're out, You see people, and you're thinking about playing some sort of game with them. Take into consideration the way they move their body and stuff. It'll make you think of what else they do with their life. It's observatory skills. Now, with that little tidbit of information, let's move on to the next topic. So, it's pretty much raspberry season. Red raspberries, black raspberries are coming in, and it's pretty much at the peak of the season right this moment. And I kind of want to go berry picking, because, I can't really film it. How do you film that and make an actual video out of it? I could put a little snippet in another video of me berry picking, but I am not nearly editing talented enough to make berry picking, entertaining. So, I don't really want to do it alone. Like, it's one of those things where if you do it alone, you get a more gross income, a more, you get more of what you're after if you do it alone. But this is one of those things where there's actually quite a lot around here, and having an extra person wouldn't really hurt all that much, and would make it more entertaining. Last year, I went with some strange fellow. We actually hung out quite a bit. He's a little bit weird. But, I'm a little bit weird. So, it all worked out. I didn't really have to worry about him stabbing me out in the middle of nowhere. So that was a plus. And for his size, he was surprisingly fit. Like, he could walk almost as far as me, and he was probably twice or three times my size. But anyways, that's besides the point. So we're probably skipping the berry hunting this year, because I don't really want to do it alone. And even if I did, what would I really use it for? I could do some sort of video on making a pie, or some sort of, I was thinking a black raspberry cheesecake would be a fun video, but that involves me videotaping inside my house with my grandmother around. And that's just not something I'm really interested in doing for a magnitude of reasons, in which we'll get into that topic right now. So, the past, 3 or 4 weeks, she threatened to either kick me out or lock the doors like 3 times. And really, it was over next to nothing. So, I don't know you guys out there, any of you are old enough, or your parents, you know, they pay bills, I guess, like everybody does. I mean, I had a house before, paid bills, you know, like people do. So, you have like 30 days until there's like a late fee, or maybe like, depending on your track record, maybe, you know, 60 days or something. Well, she wants it done like on the moment, like immediately. And I'm like, you want me to pick, like, I don't ask her for much of anything. And I'm like, you want me to pick up, change everything I'm planning on doing, or do things exactly your way when you want them done, when I could be walking down there anyway on Monday, and paying it on Monday with no different consequences whatsoever other than it being 3 days later. And she was like, oh, I'll kick you out, or you don't have to be here. And I'm like, God, you're like a 12-year-old. I'm like, how am I the mature one? She's like 3 times my age. But I can understand a bill weighing on somebody's mind, because like I said, although when I did have my house, my several houses, I paid for them on time, all the time, with the exception of once or twice. Excuse me. I never had drastic enough monetary issues to worry about being late on a bill, and neither does she. Trust me, I am not rich. I do not have any substantial form of money whatsoever, or any steady income whatsoever. I cut grass for some money. I'm talking, this is back when I was working a manager position 40 hours a week. That's when I had enough money that I never really had to worry about bills. Now, fun and leisure time, sometimes I'd be a bit of a crunch. I wouldn't be able to do things I wanted to do, or I'd have to keep it cheap. But typically, sorry, every time I ride the bus I get a cough. But typically I had enough money to, let's get back to the subject at hand. Alright, so she, like right now, I'm out in the woods. She threatened me, before I left, she's like, pick up a lottery ticket. And I'm like, sure, why not, you know? Complain about money and then you just throw it away on a piece of, you know, kindling for a fireplace, but hey, you know what, that's on you. She's like, oh, so you heard that, huh? You listened to that, you'll pick me up a ticket, huh? I'm like, yeah, I would hate to see you go through withdrawal symptoms. I can't handle you threatening to kick me out every 2 days. And she's like, well, I'll change the locks. When you get back, you won't be able to get in. And I'm like, you do what you gotta do. You do you. You know, you're a big girl. You know, it's gotta be manipulation or dementia. Like, she's manipulating me on purpose, or she's losing her freaking mind. In retrospect, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that house. I'm not sure who it belongs to, who's supposed to be there, what's supposed to be happening. But what I do know is, anything that needs to be done outside of the house, I walk and do it. I cut the grass. I carry anything heavy. I help her with a pretty big deal of the menial chores. Like, she does it on her own, on occasion, but she doesn't have to carry her basket of clothes. Like, I can take them down, she can put them in the washer, she can get them out of the washer, and I'll carry them up. I've done it several times. She doesn't have to do those things. Sometimes she does. She doesn't carry in the groceries. Only thing I really make her do is dishes, because I hate dishes. I hate dishes for several reasons. I actually discussed this a little while ago. Whenever I was working one of my jobs, like, I was tearing down a house, or remodeling, however you want to look at it. We're in the process of demolition when this was going on. And I was working a job that required cooking. Like, I built up some pretty pretty impressive calluses from, working hard. It's what happens with people when they actually work with their hands. Some of you guys might never even know what that is, but, So I started gaining some pretty impressive thick skin on my hands, which was great because it protected my hands from further damage when I was doing hard work again. But the downside was, if I washed dishes for a couple days in a row, prolonged periods of time, it would soften the calluses, and sometimes I'd cut them where they'd split. And then it would hurt when I tried to work, and it would hurt when I tried to do more dishes. So it was always a pain. Oh, excuse me. I could periodically complain about doing restrooms, because, I don't want to clean up my own fecal material if there's a accident. Why the heck would I want to clean up somebody else's? But, if you're paying me for a job and there's proper safety equipment available, it's a job. I mostly only complain about, dishes. So, other than that, she literally doesn't have to do anything except sit there and complain and collect the money. And it's so strange because, the other day, she invited me to go to the bar with her, which she was going to play bingo, but my stomach was a little upset because, I don't know, transitioned to healthier food, or I ate something that didn't agree with me. So I was like, I'm not going to have fun. I hate bingo. I mean, okay, I don't hate bingo. As far as having something to do, it's not the most horrible thing. But I'm trying to quit smoking. You can smoke in the building. So that's going to get on my nerves. And my stomach was upset enough that I wasn't going to truly enjoy drinking. So that was going to get on my nerves. Why would I want to go to a bar and do something that I don't really like, not be able to drink, and be around the one thing I'm trying to quit? It's just... That sounds like purposely trying to put myself through torture. And I'm not... And on top of that, I would probably end up breaking and either bumming a cigarette or spending money on alcohol, even though I know I'm not going to enjoy it. And then I'm going to go home, disappointed with my decision to go in the first place, with less money in my wallet. So I'm like, there's nothing about that sounds good. And then the next day, she's like, I'm going shopping. Will you go? I'm like, I don't understand you. Like, every other day you're threatening to throw me out, and now you want me to go shopping with you. Now you want me to go to the bar with you. Like, what is your problem? So I went, because of course she had one of her hissy fits about the bill, and I was like, I waited for over an hour for this person that's going to give us a ride to show up. It was over an hour. I tied up all the tomato plants, and I sat outside for 45, 50 minutes, and waiting for this ride to show up that was supposed to be there, it doesn't even matter. I was overly patient, and then when it got down to, pretty much the last little bit, I was like, you know what, I'm walking down to the store, I'm picking up a drink, she shows up, go without me. She's like, then who's gonna pay this bill? And I'm like, I'll do it Monday. She's like, you live here, you use the utilities, you'll do it when I say. I'm like, if you don't like it, you could walk down yourself. So, that turned into a big thing. See, I don't understand. She's given this here impression that I'm living there for free. Whether that's true or not, I really didn't want to come back here. I don't exactly understand how I got back to this point. And I never really asked her for much of anything. The reason I called her in the moment, on the moment, was she was the only one that picked up the phone. So I mean, I wasn't begging or groveling, And living with somebody doesn't mean you should owe them your life or your freedom. I don't understand where people get that. Indentured servitude, I'm pretty sure that went extinct quite a long time ago, somewhere around the time of slavery. But, I could be wrong. But, okay. That's my recent issues. God, this thing is turning into a vlog video diary of crap. But that's my recent issues. All right. we're going to get back to some fun stuff eventually, as soon as I figure out what exactly I want to do. I mean, summer's slowly ticking away, and I could be homeless pretty much at any time, I guess. Maybe. Possibly. Which, by the way, I'm not all that worried about. I see it being a double-edged sword. You know, I stay where I'm at, I'm never going to get anywhere. I get thrown out. It might end badly. It might suck. But at least I'll, you know, be forced to do something. So, I mean, either way sucks. One way's probably better than the other, but, you know what? Am I worried about it? Yeah. I mean, I've done the homeless thing before. It's pretty rough. I'm worried about it. But I'm not going to live in fear because somebody's a psycho, you know? I mean, I'm not going to want to never leave the house because I'm afraid that the doors are going to be locked, or I'm not going to, you know, going to try to limit how I rush through doing stuff, worried to come back and not have a way to get back into the house and be like, oh, now what am I going to do? You know, so I mean, there's a tinge of worry, but that's mostly because of the unknown. I don't know what my rights are. I don't know where I stand on this playing field. So it does give me a simplistic version of worry. But I typically just say, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. You think you're that tough? You think you're that big of a deal? Have at it. You know, I'm a fairly impressive fellow, for the most part. Well, regardless of who wants to believe that. But alright. Anyways, back to what I want to do for like fun stuff. I want to do a video of hacky sack. I want to do an actual entire video, like 15 minutes of like clips of me being a little bit more awesome than my average. I think about doing. I want to do like a fishing thing, but I'm thinking about quitting fishing permanently. I enjoy it, but I was discussing it with somebody else, and I was like, I try to tell people that I'm kind of like, you know, tree hugger, pacifist, don't want to hurt anybody kind of thing. And fishing's probably the most inhumane sport that ever existed. Like, the litter can cause problems with the wildlife. If you foul hook a fish, incorrectly hook a fish, or a fish swallows the hook, it either dies or has to live with that until it dies. And there's better ways. There's better ways. So in a survival situation, I have those skills, I have that know-how, but I don't think I'm doing it for sport anymore. Regardless if I enjoy it or not, I just think it's wrong. I think it's wrong to, unless you need to do it, why put another species in jeopardy? If that makes sense. Alright. We got that out of the way. What else stuff did I want to come up? What else was I going to talk about for this video? I'm not sure how long this is going to be. I said it's going to be a quick one, but it's really going to be however long I can talk until I run out of things to say or brain fart. I want to talk about the Atlanticraft Pixelmon server. I have the opportunity to actually do videos on there because my computer periodically lags just playing the server, and if I have the camera up, it's pretty much unplayable. So I can't really do an actual video on there, and that's pretty sad, but not really. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's pretty much every other server. There's some different games to it, some different mini games, but it's controlled by like a small group of people. Like, you know that there are those clear-cut people that are just somehow astronomically better than everybody else for some reason, and even RNG. Like one dude has like 76 legendaries. I have like 10 now, and I bought half of them. Excuse me. Sorry, I don't know why that keeps happening. I need a drink, probably. But it's fun. It's great. I like the diversity. I wish the flash hunt was a little bit different, or the hunt itself was a little bit different. Actually, the one thing I wish they would have kept that other servers had was the way the hunt functions, because that was probably one of my favorite parts. The hunt on this server is a little bit more difficult. I said a lot of the battling stuff is a joke. You try to battle other players, the players that want to battle, like, you know, use their mom's credit card to pay someone to build the perfect team, and then everyone else doesn't really want to battle until they have a better team. You know, that is what it is. Some of the other battles, like the Battle Tower, the Frontier, like, they're so bloody OP. Like, you would literally need a full team of the perfect, most strongest legendaries there are, or you'd have to individually counter each and every one of their Pokemon and hope it lines up. And I don't remember any Pokemon game at all that you had to build a specific team for every single individual fight. Like, that is just... It could be fun. It could be fun if there was 1 or 2 fights, you know, or it was 3-on-3 or something, but as far as I could tell, from what I could see, it's like 12 battles or something, and each and every one has 6 Pokemon that are maxed out, and they're Pokemon like Primal Groudon, and it's like, they're so overpowered, it's like not even funny. Like, I can take out some of them, but I have to get extremely lucky or build a specific team to counter theirs, and everyone's different, so that just makes it a giant pain. Battle Tower Easy is about where I'd expect it to be. Battle Tower Normal, maybe a little bit, I don't know, I didn't make it very far in the Battle Tower Normal. It's hard for me to really gauge the Battle Towers, because, what are you? What is this, huh? Fargo. Hubble power system. Oh, it's a resistor of some sort, I would think. AC. Something to do with electricity. It seems to run on some sort of electricity. I'll put that back. I don't particularly know what it is, if it's still functional, and I'd be willing to bet that the amount of power that it can use... Hang on a second. Alright, I'm back, I think. Somebody's shooting somewhere. So, I tried to announce my presence. I think I know where they're at. But, yeah, I was like, hey, I'm down here. I'd rather not get shot, so figured I'd turn the camera back on in case I actually do get shot. So that somebody might find it and someday be like, wow, this guy wasn't a complete moron. But anyways, so what were we talking about? Different videos I wanted to do. I was into the fishing, talking about the hacky sack, talking about grandmama drama. I don't know. That interruption very well might have cost the rest of this video. I'm talking about the Pixelmon server. That's what I'm talking about. So, Battle Towers, the problem with the Battle Towers were that if you glitched out, you had to start all over from the beginning. If you beat the easy tower and go on to the medium tower and you lose, you gotta beat the easy tower again. And the easy tower the second time, or to get the badge again. And if you lose the badge, you gotta go back and do it again. And, like, it's just god-awful. Like, each tower, there's 4 towers, and each tower is 8 fights. And each fight is the normal tower you can get through, or the easy tower you can get through with pretty much any Pokemon that are your max team, as long as you're relatively smart about it. But the normal tower takes a little more planning. So, you can get through Tower 1 with pretty much any old team, as long as they're stacked. Like, as long as they're your max team, they're one you fight with, you know, you'd be alright. But, when you get onto the normal tower, there's 8 fights. Each one of those fights, you'd have to build a team for each individual person. Or just have a team that's like maxed out legendaries. Then you might be okay. After that, you'd have the hard and the insane, which I have not gotten to, but I would be willing to bet that you would actually need a perfect team for every single fight, which would be 32 teams. And I'm sure you could reuse some of the Pokemon, or not 32, 16 teams, 6 Pokemon each. And I'm sure you could reuse a Pokemon here and there. Like, I'm sure that's possible. But I don't know, haven't made it that far, but I said the only thing in the game that is legit and fair is the NPC bosses. They're right about a good level. I said they could even maybe be a little bit tougher. But it took me team switching, it took me a little bit of strategy, and it took me some planning to legitimately beat those bosses, or beat those NPCs. And that's where the game should be. Like I said, maybe a smidgen tougher. Maybe there would be something in the game that has the insane difficulty. But as it stands right now, everything Battle Frontier and everything Hard Tower and above might as well be impossible unless you spend a ton of money or a ton of time building individually perfect teams. Now, I've been taking into consideration quitting and going back to RuneScape, but I don't really know. Like, RuneScape is hard to do content for, unless I try to do like a locked Iron Man account, but people that do that, it's like just making it harder for themselves to do the same tasks. I can understand making something more of a challenge, but what you really do is extending the amount of time. So, like, it would take you, from a fresh player, it might take you 30 days of casual play to get a full set of rune. As an Iron Man, you know, you go through the same methods of getting the full set of rune pretty much, but it would take you like 6 months because you have to actually get every single thing as a drop. I mean, all it's really doing is making it harder and more grindy. It's not really making it more fun, and people that do that are either doing it for the views and the content, or doing it because they're complete sociopaths. Or masochistic sociopaths. Not right in the head. That's what they are. Unless they're cheating on like a private server or something and giving themselves the things and saying they're doing it legit. I couldn't imagine like going for like the pets or something. Like sitting there and grinding Sarachnis for like 6,000 kills. That would drive me insane. If I had like 4 or 5 people playing my same account and we cycled through, it might not be so bad. Sorry. Might not be so bad, but to actually sit there and do it yourself, to get like any of the pets once, let alone multiple times like some of these YouTubers do, you either gotta be like super into killing that boss, super lucky, cheating, or, you know, have a screw loose, because at a certain point it's no longer enjoyable. Yeah, alright. I think I talked enough for a while. It's got to be about 30 minutes. So I made it through without getting shot so far. They're up there somewhere on that power line. Would be my guess from the way the shots echoed. But, or at least not too far from it. And yeah, not too much not really too much to really say past this point. If videos completely stop, that means Psycho finally, blew a circuit and had the locks changed, and then I'm fighting a legal battle or trying to find a way to get my stuff so I can move on. So, see how that goes. God, what kind of grandmother is even like that? Jesus. Alright, I'm out of here. Later on.